changes.
Life.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to season 33 of the FGL. New things happening this season with certain person in the party as my co-host, being Spragsy, being the new co-owner of FGL. Hello, Spragsy.
Hello, yeah, that was came out of the blue it did, but yeah, looking forward to this new season, season 33, cut draw, can't wait. Let's get going with it.
Right, we'll be running through all the cups for main league. We're starting the Pokal, and then we're moving over to Carabao, then FA Cup, then Europa League and Champions League. So let's jump straight into it with the Pokal. Hit it. Here's the first team coming out the draw here in Leverkusen into Group A. Let's see who possibly be joining them. And that is Mainz moving into Group B. Just to say, it is a bit of just trying to get everything gone through. So going through to Stuttgart, going in Group C. And now you've got Wolfsburg going into Group B. So that's 4 teams across all groups so far. Let's see where the next team will be going. And that is Dusseldorf, joining Leverkusen in Group A. And you got the boys with Dresden going into Group B. Probably going to butcher our name, going into Group C. Heidenheim, thank you. And you've got St. Pauli going into Group D. And then you got Hamburger going into Group A with Leverkusen and Dusseldorf. And you got Schalke joining Mainz, Dresden in Group B. Hoffenheim growing into Group C. And the big boys at Dortmund growing into Group D with Wolfsburg and St. Pauli. Now got 3 teams across all groups. And it will be the 4th team in Group A, and that is Hertha Berlin. Is that Hertha Berlin? Yeah. And then Darmstadt going into Group B with Mainz, Dresden and Schalke. And it all nearly went on to these German names are getting to me. Group C with Freiburg, and then Bayern Munich going into Group D. And you got Leipzig going into Group A, 5th team in there. And you got Paderborn going to Group B, sorry, with Mainz, Dresden, Schalke and Darmstadt. And then Gladbach moving into Group D. Is it D? We've got C. Sorry. Weiserfield going into Group D there with Wolfsburg, St. Pauli, Dortmund and Bayern Munich. And you've got Cologne going into Group A there, the 6th team in Group A. And then Brenham going into Group B. You got Wolfsburg going into Group C there. Now we're moving into our final teams into each group. You got Nuremberg being a 6th team. Oh no, sorry, we've still got Group D. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. Sandhausen going into Group A there. Final team into Group A. Then we've got Frankfurt going into Group B. And the final 2 teams here who will be the final team in Group C, and that's Union Berlin. And obviously will be Hanover being the final team in Group D. Right, I'm going to throw you over to Spragsy now. That will be going through the Carabao Cup. So hit it, Spragsy.
Okay, on to the Carabao Cup, 2 groups of 7. Let's get the wheel spinning and see where everyone is going to end up this season. First team into Group A, we are going with Cardiff. Spin for the first team into Group B, we are going with Wolves. Back to Group A again. And Ipswich will be joining Cardiff in Group A. Wolves will be joined by Queen's Park Rangers. Back to Group A. And Birmingham join Ipswich and Cardiff. Wolves and QPR are joined by Tottenham. Back into Group A, and Coventry will be going into Group A. Back with Group B, and Tranmere will be in Group B. Oxford will be going into Group A, and back to Group B. Millwall. Final four teams. Group A. MK Dons. Going into Group B will be Blackpool. Final two teams. Group A will go West Brom, which of course just leaves Swansea to spin around on their own and go into Group B with the rest. That is how the Carabao Cup will go this season. I will now pass you back to Legs, who will cover the FA Cup.
Right, let's move over to the FA Cup where we got 4 groups of 7 teams. So let's hit it with the first team in Group A. And that is Big Boys Man United. Right, let's move over to the first team in Group B. That is Sheffield United. And let's hit it with the first team in Group C. And that is Middlesbrough. Now, the final group, Group D, who's going to be the first team to be top there? And that will be Leeds, Big Leeds United. Right, let's move over to the second team, going to be in Group A. And that is Bristol City. Right, let's move over to the second team in Group B. It'll be joining Sheffield United. And that is Huddersfield. Right, let's move over to Group C. Will be the second team to join Middlesbrough. Now, AFC Wimbledon, and the final group, Group D, who's going to be joining them, that is Leeds, is Southampton. Right, let's come up. Right, let's move over to Group A. Sorry, I'm all over the place now. Chelsea will be the third team in Group A. That'll be the third team in Group B, and that'll be Derby County. Let's move over to the third team in Group C. That is Liverpool, correct pronunciation. Some people didn't know. And Group D, third team will be Blackburn. Will be the fourth team in Group A. That is Portsmouth. And who's going to be the full team in Group B? The big boys, Crystal Palace, up the Palace. And who's going to be the fourth team in Group C? That is Newcastle. That's who's going to be the fourth team in Group D. Aston Villa just said it's there. Who's going to be the fifth team in Group A? That is Stoke. Some person in the chat there loves their Stoke. Right, who's going to be the fifth team in Group B? And that is Sunderland. Who's going to be the fifth team in Group C? Yeah, Preston, sorry. That was B, the last one. Who's going to be the fourth team in Group D? That is Arsenal. Right, who's going to be the sixth team in Group A? That is West Ham. And then yet again, the sixth team in Group B, Leicester City. Right, who's going to be the fifth team in Group C? Done it again. I got ahead of myself with the last group. Everton. And who's going to be the sixth team in Group D? That is Norwich City. Right, moving into the final 4 teams here. Who's going to be the seventh team in Group A? That is Fulham. Move over to Group B. Got it correct this time. And that is Man City. And who's going to be the final team in Group C? Hull City, and that leaves it with Nottingham Forest. Right, that's your groups for the FA Cup moving into season 33. Pass you back over to Spragsy, where it's going to be reading the Europa League.
Cheers, Legs. Right, on to the Europa League before we head on to the Champions League. Group A. We'll start with Nottingham Forest. First team to go into Group B is Heidenheim. Group C, Manchester City. And Group D will go to Bayern Leverkusen. Going back into Group A, Nottingham Forest will be joined by... They will be joined by Fulham. Back to Group B again, Heidenheim. They will be joined by Union Berlin. Into Group C, Manchester City. They will be joined by AFC Wimbledon. Bayern Leverkusen will be joined in Group D with Werder Bremen. Back up to Group A again, Nottingham Forest and Fulham. They will be joined by Preston. Back into Group B, Heidenheim, Union Berlin, joined by Darmstadt. Moving back to Group C, Manchester City and Wimbledon. They will be joined by Leeds United. And back to Group D again, Leverkusen, Werder Bremen, and they are going to be joined by Norwich City. Final four teams now. Group A, joining Forest, Fulham, Preston is going to be Hoffenheim. Back to Group B, Heidenheim, Berlin, Darmstadt. They will be joined by Sunderland. And finally, Group C, Man City, Wimbledon, Leeds. They are going to get Sandhausen, which leaves Group D, Leverkusen, Werder Bremen, Norwich City. They will be joined by Dynamo Dresden. And that completes the Europa League draw. Right, I'll hand you back to Legs, who will now take on the Champions League.
Right, thank you, Spragsy. Now we're with our final draw here, and that is the big Champions League draw, with our first team coming out of the block in Group A, and that is Borussia Dortmund. Right, let's move over to Group B. Who's going to be the first team in Group B? And that is Mönchengladbach. Right, first team in Group C. Let's hit it. St. Pauli. Right, final group, Group D. Who's going to be the first team in that group? And that is the big boys, Chelsea. Right, let's move back over to Group A. Who's going to join Dortmund in Group A? And that is Everton. Right, let's move over to Group B. Who's going to join Mönchengladbach in Group B? And that is just Aston Villa. Hull City just missed out there. Who's going to be the team in Group C joining St. Pauli? That is Middlesbrough. Right, final Group D. Who's going to join Chelsea in Group D? That is Hanover. Right, let's move back over to Group A. Who's going to be the third team in Group A? That is Manchester United. Right, moving over to Group B. Who's going to be joining Aston Villa and Mönchengladbach in Group B? Oh, Hull City just got an airs, missing out as when Aston Villa got drawn. Right, let's move over to Group C. Who's going to be joining St. Pauli and Middlesbrough? And that is Schalke 04. Right, let's move over to the fourth group. Who's going to be joining Chelsea, Hanover in Group D? That is West Ham. Right, final four teams here. who's going to be joining Dortmund, Everton, and Man United in Group A. That is Leisberg. Right, move on to Group B. Final three teams who's going to be joining Mönchengladbach, Villa, and Hull. And that is Freiburg. Final two teams here. Who's going to be in Group C as the final team? That is Bayern Munich. And then finally, we have Leicester City. Right. Yeah, we'll be going through the whole group again if anyone's missed it. So let's take you back over to Spragsy.
Right, yeah, back into Carabao. No, this is the poker. Am I doing a poker? Or are you doing poker? I'll do the poker. Right, Group A, we have Leverkusen, Dusseldorf, Hamburg, Hertha Berlin, Leipzig, Cologne, and Sandhausen. Group B, we have Mainz, Dresden, Schalke, Darmstadt, Paderborn, Werder Bremen, and Frankfurt. Group C, when it comes up, there we go. Stuttgart, Heidenheim, Hoffenheim, Freiburg, Gladbach, Wolfsburg, Union Berlin. Group D is Augsburg, St. Pauli, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Ian Bielefeld, Nuremberg, and Hanover. And that completes the Pokal. Legs, if you want to take the next one.
Yeah, I'll take the Carabao. Right, the Carabao draw is...
It's the bit where you talk. You're having technical difficulties there, Legs. Do you want me to take them?
It's just come up on my screen. Right, we've got Cardiff, Ipswich, Birmingham, Coventry, Oxford, MK Dons, and West Brom in Group A. And Group B, we've got Wolves, QPR, Spurs, Tranmere, Liverpool, Blackpool, and Swansea. Moving over to, is there a C group? FA Cup, and that'll be Spragsy.
Again, the FA Cup was in Group A, Manchester United, Bristol City, Chelsea, Portsmouth, Stoke, West Ham United, Fulham. Group B, Sheffield United, Huddersfield, Derby County, Crystal Palace, Sunderland, Leicester, and Manchester City. Into Group C, Middlesbrough, AFC Wimbledon, Liverpool, Newcastle, Preston, Everton, Hull City. And finally, Group D is Leeds, Southampton, Blackburn, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Norwich, and Nottingham Forest. We'll next go to the Europa League. Legs, if you want to just go back over that one again.
Yeah, hopefully it comes up. Yeah, it's popped up straight away on my TV. Right, Group A, you got Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Preston, Hoffenheim. Then Group B, you got Heidenheim, Union Berlin, Darmstadt, Sunderland. Group C, Manchester City, AFC Wimbledon, Leeds, Sandhausen. Now I know how to pronounce that team. Group D, Leverkusen, Werder Bremen, Norwich, and Dynamo Dresden. Now passing over to Spragsy with the Champions League draw.
And again, the Champions League. Group A was Borussia Dortmund, Everton, Manchester United, Leipzig. Group B is Mönchengladbach, Aston Villa, Hull City, Freiburg. Group C, St. Pauli, Middlesbrough, Schalke, Bayern Munich. And finally, Group D, Chelsea, Hanover, West Ham, and Leicester City. That is all of the groups. Obviously, your fixtures will be on site, hopefully, within the next day or two, if you want to go and have a look on there. But yeah, that concludes the draw. The only bit of news we've really got before going into the season is making changes to Team of the Week. Super League and Late Night League are not affected. That carries on as normal. But Main League is now changing to a higher tier and lower tier Team of the Week. This is to hopefully make it a bit more, to make Team of the Week now in just a higher tier, lower tier, hopefully it'll be a bit more exciting. Team of the Season will not be affected. Every league will still get their individual Team of the Season. It's just Team of the Week will be changing to higher tier, lower tier. The actual placements, I noticed last season, well, not last season, but a few seasons, several players was getting put in positions they shouldn't really be in. The way Team of the Week works is we try to fit in, say, as many midfielders as we can. But what happening was we was getting CDM taking spaces for the Lamb, Cam, Ram, and all those positions. That will no longer happen. So if you played CDM, if you didn't have enough points to make Team of the Week as a CDM, you simply won't be in it. Lamb, Cam, Ram, those spots will be reserved for players that played those positions. So yeah, that's the Team of the Week changes. Obviously, we'll probably go back over it again when we do the first Team of the Week podcast, but that generally covers the news. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're about done. So, Legs, if you want to see us out, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming here. Yeah, it's really wraps up the first podcast of season 33. Hope you enjoyed. Hope your team got a lovely group for use, and see you in the near future. Bye bye.